My name is Haley Hall. I am the news editor for The Rambler, and today I'm sitting with Taran McZee, the Associate Vice President for Diversity and Inclusion. Thank you, Taran, for meeting with me today. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I am aware that in the previous weeks you've been moving into Lexington,
Yes.
really settling a new position here at Transy.
Yes.
So how has this transition been going for you?
Oh, the transition. I would say this being my first day here today. Today has been very enlightening. Some information that I've received earlier today, which nothing too much really surprises me in the work that I do. But the overall transition has been pretty smooth. I haven't, you have small bumps and nicks and cramps there, here and there, but nothing that has just like OMG. Nothing like that has happened, so, but excited for my position here, but as well as excited and eager to start working with students, faculty, and staff here on campus. So.
And before we delve into what's really going on our campus, can you just tell me a little bit about yourself, who you are as a person, your interests?
Sure. Well, my name is Taran McZee. I've been in inclusion and equity work for about 15 years now. I'm originally from Flint, Michigan, and I'm proud to say I am a product of my environment. I love being from Flint, Michigan. We live by this thing where the strong survive. I worked at 5 institutions previous to Transy. I worked at 2 other small private liberal arts institutions, so this is not something that's new to me. Working for a small private liberal arts institution. Went to Central Michigan, got my bachelor's in sociology with a concentration in criminal justice, and went up and pursued my master's at Central Michigan as well for education administration and community leadership, in other terms, higher education. And so it's been an awesome opportunity to be able to work in diversity, inclusion, equity, multiculturalism. The words changed. Now the hot topic now is social justice. So, but I have loved the work that I've been able to embark on. But as well as I wouldn't trade it. I would do this all over again the same exact way.
Really?
Love it. I love this work.
Well, that's lovely. How do you define the words diversity and inclusion?
Diversity has a million different meanings to it. And so with diversity, you can say socioeconomic background, you can say gender, you can say LGBTQA, you can say height, weight, religious. It has a whole host of meanings to it. So I just say all of the above when it comes to diversity. With inclusion is making sure everybody is treated fairly. Everybody is on an even and level playing field. And, like I know, that is not always the case. And so for me, I work to make sure everybody is included in terms of decisions that are being made for the institution. Decisions being made if it's down to physical plant, if it's student workers, if it's our students of color, if it's our faculty of color, if it's our LGBTQA community. I want to make sure, or even, and I take it this too as well, our disabled as well. I want to make sure everything is included in whatever decision that is made, that everybody is included, in moving forward with the decision that's made by institutions. So that's how I kind of define inclusion. That's how I've been able to make headway in some decisions made by institutions by making sure just everything and everyone is included in that decision. Because sometimes people get left out. And so having an opportunity to provide that lens for an institution, it makes an institution more stronger in its decision making.
And what really drove you to this work?
So, I'll be honest with you. At first, what drove me to this work is because I was able to make a difference on campus, but also working with faculty and staff, making faculty and staff uncomfortable.
Really?
Yes. And then a mentor of mine challenged me and said to me, yes, that's fine, that's cool, you're making them uncomfortable, but are you teaching them? And that's kind of when that light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, no, I'm not teaching. I'm making them uncomfortable and I'm leaving them uncomfortable instead of teaching them how to become comfortable. So I'll say about 10 years ago, I was challenged with that by one of my mentors. And now, as I'm working with faculty and staff, uh, although we may be in an uncomfortable state, let's continue to work to get you comfortable. Now, once you become comfortable, how can we make you uncomfortable again for you to become comfortable again? But that's all in growth for that person or persons, you know. So it's been challenging over the years because you do get faculty, staff, or no administration who doesn't believe in diversity or doesn't think there's nothing wrong with the institution when clearly it's there.
What is your vision for Transy in regards to diversity and inclusion?
What's my vision for Transy in terms of diversity and inclusion? Well, my vision is for Transylvania to be known as the premier small liberal arts institution that everyone in the country looks to for diversity and inclusion work, and knowing that the work is being done the correct way. So my vision is to take Transy and not necessarily put Transy on a national scale. I already think Transy is on a national scale, but add to the national scale that Transy is already on. So enhance it from a diversity and inclusion standpoint. And so for me, that's my vision. My vision for the campus is just to make sure that everyone is treated fairly, everyone has equal opportunities on this campus, and as well as teach what diversity and inclusion is, teach what inclusive excellence is, as well as hopefully be able to create some cultural competency trainings on campus, work tirelessly with faculty, staff, administration, and students on what inclusion and equity should mean for Transylvania University.
So from working in campus environments, what have you learned about diversity and inclusion, and how can this apply to Transy?
So I've worked at 2 previous small liberal arts institutions. Was at both schools, total of 10 years at both schools. So I do understand the dynamics that small private liberal arts schools go through in terms of inclusion and equity. But all schools are different. So for me, it's to get in the trenches with faculty and staff, students, administration, and find out what is it that Transy need, what changes need to be made, where do we need to improve. And then I think it'll be a lot more easier for me to pinpoint what type of work needs to be done for the institution. So, but I think whether you're a big school or a small school, when it comes to inclusion and equity, I think it's safe to say that they always have the same problems, just on different scales, different levels. So just from being in this work for 15 years, it has allowed me the opportunity to see the good and the bad of inclusion and equity work. But also an institution has to want it. And I really truly believe that Transylvania does want it, or they would have never created, position. Whether I was here or not, they would have never created the position. So I applaud the institution for going in this direction and hiring an associate vice president for diversity and inclusion, and start to lead the institution in a way that I think the institution wants to go in. So.
And you referenced some problems that you face at other institutions. What generally are those problems that are present in all campuses?
I would probably say that some of the concern, we won't say problem, we'll say concerns, that typically students face is students of color face a lot of implicit bias. I think when it's a small campus, you pretty much hear and see everything, on the campus. So I would say students being culturally competent and or accepting or being open to another culture, more or less than the one that they grew up in. I think that some other concerns that face the institution is not this institution, but just institutions in general. Um, Small faculty of color that's on campus, if there's any faculty of color on campus, and I say that in a way that some schools generalize faculty of color as having international faculty, but that's not American minority born faculty. So sometimes students of color, specifically African American, Hispanic, Native American, and Asian American, wants to see faculty members that looks like them. You know, and so from that side of the house, in terms of academics and faculty, we typically schools typically count international faculty as faculty of color when in fact they should be separated. And I know here, at least from the student standpoint here at Transy, what I did respect and appreciate about the institution is that they separate students of color percentage and international student percentage instead of lumping them together. I'm glad that Transy already separates the two. And actually for a size of our institution, being 16.4% students of color is actually awesome for a campus this size. Very huge. My last two previous campus of this size probably were like in this 5 percentile or 7 percentile, and we're at 16.4. So I think from that standpoint, we're ahead of the game in terms of students of color on our campus. Now, is that enough? No. Would I like to see more? Yes. And so, but I think admission is doing a great job from that standpoint, our students, but as well as I don't think a lot of people know that we have an assistant director for international recruitment as well. So admissions is very serious about diversifying this campus. I think the cabinet is very serious about diversifying the campus. If they didn't, we wouldn't have a director for multicultural recruitment or assistant director for international recruitment. So that's how I know an institution is serious about diversity and inclusion.
And you mentioned previously that students want to see faculty that reflect themselves, whether it be through diversity or possibly just individuality. Do you think that it's your job as the AVP for diversity and inclusion to bridge the gap between the administration and students?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I mean, but I think it's not just mine. I think it's an institutional thing. I don't think, because my thing is, I don't want the institution to think that I'm the only one here to do diversity and inclusion work. No, I am here to be the gatekeeper for inclusion and equity work and make sure things are getting done from an inclusion and equity standpoint. But I'm going to need help from everybody to make sure that diversity and inclusion work is being spread out across the campus, not just from my department or my office. No, I don't think that's fair to me. So I think it's an institutional buy-in, though, and it will be institutional buy-in. Yeah.
I know we talked previously about the diversity and inclusion forum that occurred, in which students, the public forum in which students came and participated in activities where they responded to questions on posters and wrote their responses, and then we discussed them. And again, we talked about this previously about how there was a general lack of trust in the higher administration on campus. So how can we mend that the lack of distrust, the lack of trust, and the hopelessness that prevails on campus right now?
Well, honestly, I can't speak to what has happened previous to me being at Transylvania University. Only thing I can do is show students that administration is very serious about diversity and inclusion on this campus. It saddens me to hear that there is hopelessness and or trust issues on campus, but I think that once the students see what direction, especially Project One, is going to go in, I think that their thought process will change. And I know it's not going to happen overnight, and I am okay with that. But give me a chance, give administration a chance as well, and I think that we will prevail as an institution, as a university. I think we will. But I think it's more of now showing versus telling. Now it's time for us to walk the walk. And I got my walking shoes, as well as upper administration. We got our walking shoes. So, I'm very, very excited about the new strategic plan that we're getting ready to roll out here sometime. We do have a diversity and inclusion work group who is working awesomely right now. Because you've been to the forum, and so we're coming up with some great ideas for the institution. Nothing is set in stone yet, so I don't want to put anything out there at this point in time, but once that strategic plan come out, I'm going to be very, very excited about it once it comes out.
I see. What can students, staff, faculty expect to see from this position, or generally just the work urban strategic plan in the future?
Well, from this position, they're going to see someone who's very hardworking. They're going to see someone that generally cares about inclusion and equity work. They're going to see someone who wants to see the institution win at all costs. And they're going to see someone who is willing to educate, promote transy, whether that's from the local, regional, or national scale, and someone who enjoys this work. I love what I do. I love the work that I do. I've been doing it, again, 15 years. And if I could do this thing all over again, I would choose the same path. I wouldn't change anything. And just know that my passion for diversity and inclusion work is unmatched. And I really truly feel that way. But also I want people to understand that there's a difference between working passionately and working aggressively. And I want people to understand I work passionately. I don't work aggressive. I don't work to make people upset, to make people mad. I work to put people in situations where they're learning. And if sometimes that may be an uncomfortable state. And I'm okay with that, because the more you are uncomfortable, when you do become comfortable, that's growth for you. So I just want everybody to understand that this position is very, very important to me. It's very, very important to the institution. And I appreciate Dr. Carey for entrusting in me with this position and moving this institution to the next level when it comes to diversity and inclusion.
And this is my last question for you, but I've actually seen you around campus. You seem to be talking with faculty, specifically some Sodexo CAP workers. So is it okay if I ask you what you're discussing with them? Is this part of the initiative to understand the campus better?
Well, no, that's more of getting to understand people and who they are. It has nothing to do with work. It's just for me, introducing myself to people, wanting people to know who I am, wanting people to know, if you need anything, please feel free to come to me. I don't care what race, creed, color you are. It doesn't matter to me. I want to be able to help. If I can't help, let me try to point you in a direction where someone will be able to help you. So it's just me going around campus. So one thing I like to do is that the last hour of my day, I will get up out of my office and I will walk around, especially when I'm new, I'll walk around to different offices and introduce myself to them. And let them know that I'm here and give them my business card. Because my thing is, one of my strong suits that I feel that I have is relationship building. You never know who you're gonna need. You never know. So my thing is to create those relationships, start to create that work trust. And then, if someone needs me, I am there for them. And I pretty much expect the same, in return from colleagues. So it's all about going out and getting to know who your colleagues are, who students are, because it's just not colleagues, it's students as well. And I just want everybody to know who I am. So, when anything, comes up, whether it's good or bad, they can come to Taran and ask for help. And like I said, I'll do my part to see where I can help. And if I can't, then I will point them in the right direction.
Well, that's an essential part, I think, to any role you will ever play in life.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I want to say thank you, Taran, for sitting down with me. I greatly appreciate your time. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right.